There's a silent mistake so many women make in relationships, not because they're weak, needy, or unaware, but because they care deeply and they're afraid to lose someone they love. That mistake? Lowering or abandoning their standards to keep a man around. And while it may feel like compromise in the moment, it becomes the very reason he loses respect and leaves. Standards aren't about being difficult. They're not about being high minimums, demanding, or hard to please. Standards are boundaries in disguise. They are the non-negotiables that protect your self-worth, your peace, your time, and your energy. They define what's okay and what's not okay. And when you compromise them, especially early on, you teach someone how to treat you at the cost of your own integrity. The moment you find yourself saying things like, it's fine, I'll wait until he's ready, or maybe I'm asking for too much, or worse, I guess this is just how men are, pause. Ask yourself, is this something I truly accept, or am I just afraid of walking away? Because shrinking your standards to fit someone else's comfort zone doesn't create closeness. It creates imbalance. You end up carrying the emotional weight while he gets to enjoy the benefits of a relationship without the responsibility. Here's the brutal truth. Men don't stay because of how much you give. They stay because of how much they value what you give. And that value is created when there are standards attached. If love is given freely without any requirement for respect, effort, or consistency, it loses its meaning. He starts believing he doesn't have to try because you'll stay anyway. You'll forgive anyway. That's not love, that's self-abandonment. And it's not just about relationships where there's obvious mistreatment. Sometimes it's subtle. Maybe you stop speaking up about what bothers you. Maybe you let him cancel plans last minute again and again. Maybe you're always the one adjusting, always the one understanding, always the one bending. You think you're being chill or easygoing, but what you're really doing is teaching him that your needs are optional. And the hard part, once you start lowering your standards, it gets harder and harder to bring them back up. Because every time you let something slide, you train both yourself and him that it's acceptable. It starts small, but over time, you look around and realize you're in a relationship that doesn't even feel like you anymore. The man who's right for you won't be threatened by your standards. He'll be attracted to them. Real men respect boundaries. They crave a woman who knows her worth and isn't afraid to walk away if that worth isn't being honored. Why? Because it signals that you're emotionally mature, secure, and not desperate for love. You're selective about where you invest it. To ask yourself, are you compromising your standards or are you standing in your power? Are you trying to make him comfortable at the cost of your peace? If the answer is yes, it's time to reset. Not by punishing him, but by choosing yourself. That's where your true strength is, not in convincing someone to stay, but in making sure you never lose yourself while trying to keep them. Because here's the truth. A man who stays only when it's easy isn't a man worth keeping. But a man who meets your standards, respects your space, values your time, and shows up because he wants to, that's the man who will never take you for granted. So never apologize for having standards. Never soften them to avoid being too much. Because when you honor your own value, you stop attracting people who treat you like you're replaceable and start attracting people who treat you like you're rare. Let's get one thing straight. Connection is a two-way street. And in a healthy, emotionally mature relationship, effort should be mutual. If you're the one constantly texting first, planning the dates, checking in, keeping the conversations alive, asking the deep questions, and making sure things stay afloat, then you're not in a relationship, you're managing one. And there's a huge difference. It's easy to fall into this trap, especially when you really like someone. You want to stay connected. You want to show them you care. You want to keep the momentum going. And hey, maybe you're naturally the one who puts in the work. But when you find yourself always initiating, you've crossed from genuine interest into emotional overfunctioning. And that imbalance becomes a slow leak that drains your energy and your self-worth.
Let me break it to you gently. Most people are not intentionally trying to hurt you. They're just functioning from pain they've never healed, patterns they've never questioned, and environments that shaped them long before you showed up. And when you understand that, you stop taking everything so personally. A man who doesn't know how to communicate isn't being cold. He might have grown up in a home where silence was survival. The woman who seems distant isn't necessarily ungrateful. She might be carrying burdens you can't see. The person who let you down might not be disloyal. They might just be human. When you understand that people are operating through layers of experiences, beliefs, trauma, and conditioning, you stop trying to get fruit from trees that were never planted. That doesn't mean you excuse toxic behavior. It doesn't mean you allow disrespect or ignore boundaries. It simply means you stop being shocked by it. You stop bleeding emotionally every time someone disappoints you, because you've stopped expecting broken people to carry your wholeness. And he's trying to say that a manner is the most absent from emotion. Wisdom sees patterns. Emotion sees offense. Wisdom says that makes sense given where they are. Emotion says, I can't believe they did that to me. One brings peace, the other brings pain. The moment you shift your lens from reaction to revelation, everything changes. You stop trying to fix people, argue with people, or demand from people what they aren't wired to provide. Let me give you an example. If someone's never experienced emotional safety, why would they know how to create it? If someone was never taught how to love themselves, why would they know how to love you? You see, most conflict comes from expecting maturity with it still wounding. And when you don't know that, you'll take everything as an attack instead of an alarm. An alarm telling you that this person is simply not equipped for what you're trying to build within. And this is a beautiful part. When you understand this, you don't just protect your peace. You increase compassion. You stop needing revenge. You stop holding grudges. You realize that people are on a journey just like you. Some are further, some are behind, some are learning, some are resisting. But all of them, just like you, are still figuring it out. And that understanding gives you freedom. Because now, instead of investing your energy in being offended, you invest it in discernment. Instead of being constantly triggered, you become curious. Why did they respond that way? What story might they be carrying? These questions open the door to wisdom. And wisdom is the greatest shield from being emotionally hijacked. You want to stop being bothered by people? Start studying them. Observe without absorbing. Listen to understand, not to react. Don't just see what they do. Seek to understand why they do it. Because once you understand someone's root, their fruit stops surprising you. And in that place of clarity, frustration feeds. Not because people changed, but because you did. Your peace is your personal property. It doesn't belong to your boss, your spouse, your parents, or your friends. It's not tied to how your day went, how someone treated you, or what the world thinks of you. Your peace is yours. But here's the catch. You have to claim it, protect it, and treat it like sacred ground. Because if you don't, someone else will walk all over it. Most people treat their peace like a public park. Anyone can stroll in, leave trash, stomp through with muddy feet, and walk out without consequence. But peace is in a public place. Peace is a private estate. And until you put a fence around it, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, you'll keep wondering why you feel so violated every time someone brings chaos into your life. The truth is, people will always try to hand you their drama, their dysfunction, their emotional baggage. Not because they're evil, but because they haven't learned to carry it themselves. And if you don't know where you end and they begin, you'll carry what isn't yours. You'll answer every call Absorb every emotion, react to every mood, and slowly watch your inner calm evaporate. Let me make it plain. Protecting your peace isn't selfish. It's survival. It's the discipline of choosing what gets access to your mind and heart. You wouldn't leave your front door open in the middle of the night, but you leave your mental door wide open to negativity, guilt trips, manipulation, and emotional clutter. Why?
So if you're the one always reaching out, always holding space, always fixing the awkward silences, let this be your sign to stop. Not because you're angry, but because you deserve mutual effort. You deserve someone who thinks about you, who checks in on you, who wants to hear your voice just as much as you want to hear theirs. Love should feel like a dance, not a chase. So if you're the only one doing the running, slow down. The right person will meet you in rhythm, not in resistance. Chemistry can be electric. It's magnetic. It's intoxicating. That spark, the kind that makes your stomach flip, your heart race, and your mind obsess, it's so easy to confuse that feeling with something deeper. You start telling yourself, this is it. This has to mean something. But here's the truth nobody wants to admit. Chemistry alone doesn't make a relationship work. Chemistry is what starts the fire. The compatibility is what keeps it burning. We've all been there, caught up in that whirlwind connection that feels like fate. The late night conversations, the intense eye contact, the butterflies every time they text. It feels powerful, almost spiritual. You don't just want them, you feel like you need them. That's the pull of chemistry. And while it's real, it can be dangerously misleading if you're not grounded in reality. Because here's what chemistry doesn't tell you. It doesn't tell you if they're emotionally available. It doesn't tell you if they can communicate. It doesn't tell you if they're loyal, consistent, respectful, or ready for something real. You can have insane chemistry with someone who's completely wrong for you. You can feel a soul deep connection with someone who brings out the worst in you. And you can mistake adrenaline, uncertainty, and emotional chaos for passion. It's a brutal realization, but an essential one, because if you're not careful, you'll keep chasing that high, that spark, and ignoring the fact that the foundation is cracked. That spark won't matter when you're constantly confused, insecure, or hurt. It won't matter when they disappear for days, dismiss your feelings, or give you mixed signals. The people who give us the most intense highs often leave us with the deepest lows. That's not love. That's an emotional roller coaster dressed up as romance. Compatibility, on the other hand, is quieter. It's stable. It's safe. It's someone who sees you, all of you, and still shows up consistently. It's shared values, goals, communication styles, and emotional maturity. It's how they treat you on your worst days, not just how they flirt with you on your best. Compatibility doesn't always come with fireworks, but it builds the kind of connection that lasts through real life, not just fantasy. The problem is, most of us have been conditioned to associate love with intensity. If it's not dramatic, it must not be deep. If it's not complicated, it must not be real. So we chase sparks instead of stability. We overlook red flags in the name of potential. We stay in toxic dynamics because the chemistry is strong. And we tell ourselves that's enough, but it's not. The truth, the right relationship might not feel like a storm. It might feel like peace, like safety, like exhale. And if you've only ever experienced chaos, that peace might feel unfamiliar, maybe even boring. But that's not boredom. That's healing. That's what it feels like to be seen, heard, and loved without having to earn it, chase it, or question it. So the next time you feel that rush, pause, ask yourself, is this person actually showing up for me, or am I just addicted to the feeling of them? Do we align in ways that matter long term, or are we just hot together? Don't let the spark blind you, because the people who burn the brightest don't always stay. Look for the one who doesn't just light you up, but helps you grow, keeps you grounded, and walks beside you when the fire dies down. You deserve more than a spark. You deserve a flame that lasts. Let's talk about one of the most toxic dynamics in modern relationships: emotional breadcrumbs. The tiny bits of attention, affection, or effort someone gives you, just enough to keep you holding on, but never enough to feel secure, seen, or truly valued. It's when they disappear for days but send a "hey, miss you" at 2 a.m. It's when they cancel plans again but promise to make it up to you soon. It's when they never fully commit, but they also never fully let you go. That right there is a manipulation wrapped in romance, and it's slowly destroying your sense of self. Here's what emotional breadcrumbs do: they confuse your heart and hijack your brain. They keep you stuck in a cycle of hope and disappointment, craving the next tiny hit of validation like a drug. And before you know it, you're accepting a fraction of the love you deserve while telling yourself, maybe this is just how he loves. But here's the truth: real love doesn't come in crumbs. It comes in consistency. It shows up in action, not empty words. If someone truly values you, they won't keep you guessing. They won't give you just enough to stay, but never enough to thrive. And if you find yourself constantly waiting for a text, a call, a plan, a decision, you're not in a relationship. You're in limbo. But you're not here to be someone's maybe. You're not here to be an option, a placeholder, or a backup plan. You are worthy of a love that doesn't make you question your value every other day. You deserve a connection where affection isn't rationed out like rewards for good behavior.